Every November, the air in this Himalayan valley becomes lethal. Temperatures drop so low that the roads freeze solid, and heavy, relentless snow seals off the landscape. Every priest, pilgrim, and local resident is forced to abandon the temple completely. Before the head priest locks the heavy wooden doors for the winter, he performs a final act. He lights the Akhand Jyoti, an ancient oil lamp, and leaves enough ghee inside the freezing sanctum to last for a few days of normal use. For 6 months, the valley remains in absolute silence. No human hand touches the lamp. Yet, when the doors are finally unbolted in May, that same flame is found burning steadily in the dark. In a place where oxygen-depleted air and sub-zero temperatures should extinguish any standard fire, the flame defies the winter. At Badrinath, the known laws of thermodynamics appear to pause. The texts trace this sanctuary back to the Satya Yuga. Vishnu was searching the peaks for a place of absolute stillness, a location where he could sit in deep meditation for the welfare of the entire universe. He found the ideal spot at 10,000 feet, but there was a conflict. Shiva and Parvati had already claimed the valley as their own home. Vishnu chose to manipulate the situation rather than fight for it. He manifested as a crying baby at their doorstep, knowing Parvati's maternal instincts would override Shiva's warnings. Despite Shiva's suspicion that the child was a trick, Parvati carried the infant inside. Once the baby was settled, Shiva and Parvati left for their daily bath in the nearby hot springs. When they returned, they found their front door bolted from the inside. Rather than destroy the child to reclaim his home, Shiva chose to walk away. He and Parvati wandered deeper into the mountains, eventually migrating to Badrinath to settle in their new exile. Vishnu had successfully secured the valley. By evicting the destroyer of worlds through a calculated performance, he established the ground for his eternal meditation. Vishnu finally entered his trance, but his physical form was entirely exposed to the brutal, freezing Himalayan elements. From her divine realm in Vaikuntha, goddess Lakshmi watched her husband sitting unprotected in the snow. She left her comforts, walked into the high Himalayas alone, and transformed her body into a Badri tree, a hardy jujube tree with thick, sheltering leaves. For thousands of years she stood over him, taking the full force of the wind and snow to keep him safe from the cold. This is why the site is called Badrinath, or Lord of the Badri. The name serves as a permanent record of this protection, a god named for the tree that kept him alive. As the world entered the Kali Yuga, the visible presence of the divine began to fade. Purity waned, and the physical link between the gods and humanity weakened. The sacred idol of Vishnu, the form Lakshmi had protected for ages, slipped into the Alaknanda River and sank into the depths of a hidden pool called Narad Kund. Pilgrims stopped coming, and the valley was buried in ice for centuries. The god of the Himalayas was lost to historical memory. This disappearance served as a divine challenge. Would humanity ever care enough to trek back into these mountains to find a lost god? In the 8th century, a young monk from the tropical coast of Kerala arrived to answer that challenge. Adi Shankaracharya had grown up at sea level, thousands of miles from the freezing peaks. He walked the entire length of the subcontinent to revive the fragmented spiritual traditions of the land and find the buried sanctuary of the north. Guided by a vision, he reached the Alaknanda River and located the exact freezing pool where the idol had been lost 1,000 years prior. Without equipment or thermal protection, he walked directly into the deadly currents of Narad Kund, where the water temperature sits near zero. From the icy floor of the pool, he pulled out a black shalagram stone, the self-manifested image of Vishnu in meditation. Shankaracharya's recovery of the stone restored the physical anchor for the temple. By building the sanctuary over the black shalagram, he turned a forgotten legend back into an active center of worship. Modern pilgrims still face the grueling mountain roads, arriving in the valley with the deep endurance required to survive the Himalayan altitude. Upon arrival, they find a geological anomaly, the Tapta Kund hot springs. These waters stay at 45 degrees Celsius, sitting directly beside the freezing, rushing turquoise water of the glacial river. Puranic tradition says that the fire god Agni heats these waters on Vishnu's command to comfort those who have traveled through the cold to see him. This 45-degree spring functions as a practical gateway. Every pilgrim bathes in Agni's heat to shed the mountain's chill before crossing the threshold to meet the Lord. Inside the temple, there is no towering statue. Devotees find only the small black Shaligram stone, seated in the same meditative posture Vishnu held when Lakshmi sheltered him. Every winter, the cycle repeats. The people leave, the doors are locked, and the mountain is reclaimed by the ice. While humans are away, tradition dictates that the celestial devas arrive to continue the rituals. Narada Muni is said to lead the worship in the silence of the snow. Badrinath remains the intersection where human effort ends and celestial worship begins. When nature forces the world to pull back, the prayers continue in the silence.